GHRYAN is a city in northwestern Libya in the Jabal al-Gharbi district, and it's one of the largest towns in the Western Mountains. It's about 75 kilometers southwest of Tripoli. GHRYAN covered an area which about 4,660 cubic kilometers. The first thing that attracts the visitor's attention in GHRYAN is the types of architectures and the building system, the cave houses where elders and ancestors used to live. The most distinguished historical architect in GHRYAN is Housh Hafr, the underground building, which represents the development phases of the building that starts from the cave. And this beautiful building is dating back to the Italian colonization. The second thing that attracts the visitors in GHRYAN is the nature. A lot of tourists love to visit GHRYAN to see the amazing nature of the mountains places like Al Wadi Ghan, which exists in Al-Qasim district, and to see the fabulous spring water in Al-Yaqib village. Another thing that attracts the guests in GHRYAN is the traditional food, like al-bazin and other food that is cooking on the coal. It's really tastes different. And from personal experience, I can say that every dish is really a piece of art. GHRYAN city is also well known for the first-class olive oil and pottery industry. The olive oil is the most significant thing that the city is famous with. There is about 1 million olive trees in GHRYAN. A glass container of olive oil is something necessary in every house in Libya. Do you know that the olive oil that produced in GHRYAN is considered of one of the highest quality olive oil in Libya? Recently, the pH of the olive oil that produced in GHRYAN tasted, and the result was great. The pH was between 0.4 up to 0.5, which is really good results. So whenever the pH decreased, the high quality in oil increased. Now let's talk briefly about the squeeze phases of the olive oil. First, they choose the best trees that have the best olives which contain oil, because there are trees which don't contain oil. This process is done by a skilled farmer. The second thing is picking the olives from the tree. Usually, this process is done by hands. Now let's move to the squeeze phases. The first phase, which is the washing and removing the leaves phase. They put the olives into a hopper machine that works on producing a huge airflow and water current in order to get rid of the dust and leaves that stuck in the olives. The second phase, which is the grinding stage, which produced a dough full of oil. This process happening by metal grinder. Then they take the olives dough to a particular basin. Then they pour a hot water on it with flipping to purify the oil from the solid. After that, the dough is transferred to the centrifuge for transfer to the last stage. Now let's move to the final screening stage. In this stage, the oil is separated from the other contents. And the final stage, which is the storage stage. After that, the oil is stored in dry places in glass containers. And now it's ready for selling. So these are the most interesting thing about GHRYAN city. It's a really beautiful city. I really recommend you to visit such a lovely place like GHRYAN. Actually, it's one of the magical cities in Libya. And this is the end of my presentation. I hope that you enjoy, and thank you so much for your listening.